If you're able to begin with your legs up, that would be great. So Viparita Karani can be done with your legs on a chair, up a bed, up a couch. So if you want to put the legs up a bed or a couch or a chair, you can just kind of roll them up at a 90-degree angle. The same thing if you want to use a wall or a closet or anything like that. So essentially just getting ourselves in this position where we have the feet over the head, and then you can put something underneath your head. So make sure you have a pillow or blanket underneath your head, anything to support the body. So whenever we come into this particular practice, the restorative yin yoga nidra practice, we always want to make sure we create sort of a cocoon. So anything warm, comfortable, cozy, turn down the lights, really allow it to be a space for tuning inwards towards yourself and allowing this restorative reset. And it's been a practice over the last, I don't know, 15 plus years that we begin every new calendar year moving through an energetic anatomy system called the chakras. Chakra is Sanskrit for wheel. And there's a lot of systems where the chakras are explored. A lot of the information I have is from the tantric system, where the chakras are these energy centers, sort of these vortices that follow the spine. And they relate to the elements, they relate to our biology, they relate to our endocrine system. And when we work with them individually and then systemically, it can help to release outdated or stagnant energy. It can help to bring the body into balance. And there's a lot of different ways to work with the chakras. And it is one of my favorite things in all the years I've been teaching yoga, to work with the chakras, because it can be really simple and practical and profound. And this year we are taking the path of manifestation. So we are moving from the crown chakra, the seventh chakra, down to the first. And then the last week of the series is an integration where we work with all of the chakras. So starting with legs up the wall or legs up the bed is one of my favorite poses anyway, but being upside down is very helpful for the higher chakras. Actually, all the chakras, I will say Viparita Karani is a great pose just to kind of flush out all of the body, but it allows us to bring the attention to the crown in a different way, because a lot of the times the crown is what is just facing up when you're sitting or when you lay down. We don't spend a lot of time with the crown. And those of you who practice physical yoga, there's a lot of poses for the lower chakras, right? There's heart openers and hip openers and core work and leg poses. And when we're talking about the crown of the head, right, like there's not that many poses that we can reasonably do. So when we're in the higher chakras, the more spiritual or ethereal chakras, it's really about bringing intention. And so in this position with the legs up the wall or up the bed, can you start to just breathe? So always just starting to breathe. Because as soon as we put the legs up, we are beginning to change the flow of energy in the body. And allow a deep, slow inhale. And let this next exhale leave through the mouth. So open your mouth and sigh, or you can hum if sound is a part of your practice. And just do that a few times, just releasing stagnancy, excess, arriving here, whatever your day's been like, if you've been working or playing, just arriving in this cocoon of our practice, this first practice of the new calendar year, beginning to move into a energetic practice of embodiment, of manifestation. When we move from the crown to the root, we are essentially opening to the infinite and then drawing it down into our being. And so as you start to breathe, imagine as you inhale that you're breathing up the spine. So from the base of the spine to the crown of your head, this is the central channel, the Sushumna Nadi. And when you get to the top of that inhale, just pause and just imagine that you're breathing right at the crown of the head, right at the top of the head. And then as you exhale, just let it go. So just imagine as you inhale, breathing all the way to the crown, a little pause at the crown, and then let it go. And just follow this. It doesn't have to be a big, effortful breath, just beginning to bring attention to the crown. In Sanskrit, the crown chakra is the Sahasrara chakra, which is the 1,000-petaled lotus. And so the visual of this chakra is at the crown. There's this incredible 1,000-petaled lotus, white lotus flowers glistening and sparkling, opening to the limitless, infinite possibilities of the universe. This is our connection to spirit, our relationship with a higher power of our own understanding. This is our connection to meditation, to trance, to, again, the infinite potential of our lives, of the world. This chakra is where we sort of detach from the material and we surrender to sort of the bliss and the spaciousness. If you do practice meditation or have meditative practices, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the samadhi state, which, you know, we can experience that state when we're meditating, when we're in nature, when we're doing art, you know, something we really love. We kind of lose a sense of time and space and we are just sort of floating. We are just sort of blissful. This is all the realm of the crown chakra. It is connected to the pituitary gland in the endocrine system, which is one of the master glands. It looks like a couple of cherries sharing a stem. If you've ever seen cherries that kind of hang together and they share a stem. Pituitary gland, right when you tuck in at the crown of your head, where the soft spot is when you're a baby, and it tucks right in there. And so as you breathe, we are breathing up into the crown, but we are actually sort of connecting to the pituitary gland. And if you are interested in working with the endocrine system, you can even, just as you pause, invite the pituitary gland to balance and restore. And this has a lot to do with our overall health, regulation of our health, the pituitary gland. And you can also, if you're more ethereal than biological there, you can focus on that 1,000-petaled lotus, or sometimes I would imagine like this big funnel, like opening up to the universe. And this is where you can just sort of like drink in all of this potential and bliss. And then we start to kind of funnel it down into our experience. But for now, we invite this openness, we invite the possibility. And that's kind of what a new year sometimes can feel like, right? Like this new beginning, new possibilities. Like none of us know like what the next 12 months will bring. And so we greet this new year from the crown chakra. And we ask our guides, our guardians, our angels, our higher power, our connection to source, whatever that may be, to allow us to be open and receptive, to release any outdated belief systems or attachments, so that we can move into this year open and willing and connected to this higher purpose. And so just give yourself a couple more moments, breathing up into the crown, pausing there with gratitude and grace for these bodies, for our practice, for the teachings, for the opportunity and the privilege to be in our bodies and in this container. And then allowing again that exhale to just let this energy absorb into your body. There's nowhere to go or anything to do for this next hour. This is just about resting into the reprieve of the 1,000-petaled lotus. And as always, when we do these more restorative postures, you are welcome to stay as long as you want. So if we're ever in a pose and I begin to cue you to move out of it and you're like, no, then listen to your body, because similar to how each of the chakras can be worked with on their own, most of these poses can be done on their own. So listen to your body, listen to that higher source in the body, in the practice, in the crown. But if you are feeling like the legs are getting a little tingly from having them above the head, you can slowly deepen your breath. Take another big, big breath in, hold at the crown. And then exhale, sigh it out. And then slowly start to draw your knees into your chest. And you can hug the knees in, maybe rock your head a little bit, side to side. Soften the jaw. And take your time. Eventually, you can roll to one side, pausing in fetal pose. And then we'll bring ourselves up to sit in Baddha Konasana, bound angle. And for seated poses, you can always do them on the bed. If it's hard for you to get up and down off the ground, you can sit up against the wall. You can do it in a chair. And bound angle is the soles of the feet together. And if it feels like in this position, you're rounding forward or back, sit up on a pillow or sit up against the wall. And you can also put support under your thighs. So if it feels like this is really uncomfortable for your hips. So pressing the feet together, hands gently on the ankles, and then lengthen the spine. So this pose to me in seated always kind of looks kind of like the lotus. And so you can rest your hands on your legs. If you're able to move the hands away, you'll draw the hands to the heart and then pull back your middle three fingers on both hands so that you've just got your pinkies, your thumbs, and the bottom of the hands touching. This is Padma Mudra, which is the seal of the lotus. And again, if this is too much on the hips, you can also just extend the legs, but just pause for a moment. Breathing up into the crown. And each chakra has elements and sounds. This is the element of space and the sound of Om. And so we're going to tone the sound Om 3 times here. If you're not comfortable chanting, you can just listen. You can also just hum, but we're opening the crown chakra with the bija, the seed that activates the universal vibration. So you can join with me, or you can, again, just listen or hum. Big breath in, breathe up to the crown, hold. Again, allow that inhale to draw all the way up, hold for a moment right at the crown, and then one more time. Inhale, lengthen, breathe up, hold at the crown. Just pause for a moment. Another breath in, up to the crown. Then as you exhale, take the left hand behind you, take your right hand to your left knee. Inhale, lengthen, and then start to turn towards the left shoulder. If that's too much on your neck, and keep your gaze forward or shift it to look to the right. And as you inhale, think about lengthening up into the crown. As you exhale, gentle twist. Inhale into the crown, pause, exhale, twist. Continue to allow the thighs to open, or again, adjust the seat if this is not comfortable for your hips or your legs. Just a few deep breaths. So twists help us to release any stagnant energy along the channel. So anything that keeps that free flow of crown energy moving through the body. And just as you inhale, allowing the crown to open up a little bit more, lengthen. Take another breath. Exhale into the twist. Inhale to unwind. Pause for a moment, hands on the shins, lengthen the spine. Big breath. On the exhale, right hand behind you, left hand to right knee. Inhale, lengthen, breathe up into the crown. Exhale, begin to twist or to look towards the right, or keep your gaze centered or towards the left if that's easier for your neck tonight. But every inhale, follow the channel up to the crown, little hover at the crown, and then let it go. Let that exhale just release anything we don't want to carry in our crown into this new year. Take another big breath. Hold, exhale out the mouth into the twist. And then slowly unwind, hands to the shins. And then as you inhale, roll your chest up, open your heart, really feel the crown open up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, tuck your chin, slowly round back, let the crown point towards the earth. So just a little bit of slow seated cat-cow. Press the feet together. Inhale, really articulating through the vertebra to open that crown straight towards the sky. And then we start to tuck and round towards the earth. And just still breathing up the spine. And really, we can work with the chakras just with intention, just with color, just with thought, just with sound. And so it's nice when we pair specific movements, but really just keeping the focus at the crown chakra, the intention to restore and renew the energy of the crown. But we do want that to flow through the body. A lot of times when we get stuck at the crown, it can be hard to be in the mundane world. A lot of people who spend a lot of time up there, they have great meditation, but it's tricky to pay the bills, right? Or when we're disconnected from the crown and we're blocked from getting to the crown, we can feel really disillusioned, feel really disconnected, really struggle with attachment to the material world. So a healthy relationship to the crown means we are open to spirit. We feel connected to whatever our spiritual awareness is, the universe. We feel, collaborative with the universe, with source. We receive ideas. So there's a sense of inspiration from the crown chakra, inspiration, connection, spirituality. And the next time you round and the crown is pointing to the earth, just hold for a moment and just tuck the chin. Again, like we're kind of letting go of any energy that's stuck in the crown, just letting that empty out. And then draw yourself up, and then allow this time though your heart to move forward. So feeling a little bit of the hips now. So sort of drawing the heart forward. And so we're keeping the crown on line with the spine. So the spine is aligned here. And you can keep pressing your elbows into your thighs, and that's going to bring you into the hips a little more. You can also walk your hands forward. My more restorative folks, if you want to take a pillow or bolster and stack it up and rest your head on it, you can definitely do that. You can also stack your blocks on your feet. And if for any reason it's too much to come into the forward fold on your back, you can stay with those seated cat-cows. Or you can also take your hands behind you, but just allowing long spine. We breathe into the hips. And so just having that balance of the spine, that long line through the spine. Inhale, and again, just lengthen, breathe all the way up into the crown, hold. And as you exhale, see if you can relax and let go just a little bit more. And then slowly roll up. And as you roll up, bend your knees, hug your knees together, and just pause here for a moment. Sitting tall. And as you sit up, think about sitting back so that your ears settle over your shoulders over your hips, that Sushumna Nadi in alignment. Crown chakra like a funnel or a lotus. Some people actually see it as a crown, so as though you actually had a crown on your head, maybe with sparkling amethyst crystals or other white or gold crystals. And the crown chakra might appear any way to you. There's no right or wrong, whatever allows you to feel connected to this energy center, what allows you to feel open to the universe, receiving that limitless potential, connection to spirit, a funnel, a flower, a crown. And then slowly release. And we are going to come up to stand for a standing forward fold here in a moment. So take your time to come up. Again, those of you looking for more restorative, you're going to want to center yourself over a bed or a chair. So you're going to make sure you're standing close enough to that. If you're not doing that, I would still request that you have a couple blocks, because ideally I would like you to be able to rest the crown on something, but you don't have to worry about that right this second. And we're coming into a wide leg, so that's kind of why we did our bound angle first, was to give the hips a little bit of a warm up. So for wide legs, roughly if you extend your wrists out, then you'd have your wrists and your ankles roughly lined up. But it doesn't have to be that far. It can be just even mat distance apart. And just pause for a moment and lengthen through the crown. And then take your right arm down your right leg, and you can reach your left arm up or take the left hand behind the back. And again, just breathe into that long line through the crown, just opening up the side body for a moment. You can turn your gaze down towards the right side. Press down through your feet in a long line through the spine. And then inhale, bring it up. Left arm slides down the left leg. Right arm can reach up and over, or hand behind the back, gaze down or neutral. But again, think about that long line and even lengthen through the spine here as we open the side body. So we move the spine in all the major directions when we move through the chakras, because again, the idea is that we're releasing any stagnancy or excess from the chakras so that we have balance. Good. Inhale, bring yourself up. Hands to your hips. And again, first just lengthen through the crown. So get as long as you can. And then slowly bend your knees and start to fold forward. And if you're using a chair, you might start by relaxing your forearms and then just rest your forehead or the crown at your hands. Otherwise, let yourself fold forward as much as you can over the legs until it gets to be too much. And even here, you might just allow the spine to sort of release. But if it's available, to take a couple blocks and rest them under the crown. This is very nice for the crown chakra. So the poses most traditionally worked with the Sahasrara chakra are headstand and then seated lotus meditation. Those poses are fairly inaccessible to a lot of bodies. While if those are in your practice, you know, you're always welcome to take them. So if you did have a headstand practice and you wanted to do that, you definitely could. I haven't done a headstand in like 15 years, and I feel like this is more than enough. When I do wide legs and I tuck my chin and I rest my crown on a block, I'm getting all the benefits of headstand without any potential concerns about too much weight on my neck. I've got kind of long-term chronic neck and shoulder things, and I feel like I can get the benefits of that here, no problem. And even if you aren't comfortable having something under your head, just coming into this pose is an inversion. So you're upside down. And you're probably already feeling more pressure in your head because it feels like the blood is flowing there. So wherever you are in this pose, once again, try to focus the breath, moving, flowing to the crown. And that part of the body might have some pressure right now, or it feels a little bit different. The hands, again, can be, stacked. Otherwise, you can, if you're in a forward fold where the hands are loose, they can be under the shoulders. You can rest them on the legs or on your back. And just try to find that breath flow. Inhale, breathing up the spine. Pause at the crown. Exhale, let it go. Deep breath in. Pause your attention at the crown. Exhale everything out. If it's available on the next inhale, you can lengthen up halfway, even bringing your hands to your shins or your hips. And again, just find that long line of energy at the spine. And then as you exhale, heel toe your feet in just a little bit closer. And then soften the knees. And now roll up the rest of the way, one vertebra at a time. The head is the last thing to come up. And then just pause for a moment. And you can draw the hands to the heart and then separate the three fingers back into our lotus. And just noticing any sensation at the head, or just noticing the flow of prana, life force in the body. And then turn the feet out. So we're going to move back down through squat. I will give you some options. So if squat is not that accessible, you can always grab your block and move it behind you. And then as you come down, you can sit on the block for malasana. If that's not available, you can come back down to your butt and then sit on your butt with your knees bent and your hands inside the legs. You can also do this at the wall. Otherwise, just coming down as you're ready through yogi squat. And definitely great to use a block or a pillow underneath the pelvis, especially if the knees are sensitive. Or again, if this is not available for your knees, you can just sit on your bottom with the knees bent or come back into that bound angle position as well. And then pressing the arms in towards the thighs, lift up. So this is just such a great pose for all the postural muscles and the spine. And again, you can pull the fingers apart. If it's too much to do that, you can just keep your hands on your ankles, or you can always put a block or a pillow in front of you and lengthen. But we are feeling that line of energy through the spine, blossoming through the crown. Great pose for the hips, for the knees, for the back. Very functional pose as well, but if there's pain or discomfort, then it loses some of those benefits. So listen to your body. Right, just imagining that lotus funnel or crown at the top of the head. Smooth flow of breath all the way up and letting it go. When I'm meditating with the crown chakra, once I sort of feel connected to that lotus or a tiara or something that feels appropriate, I just sort of imagine, you know, kind of the stars or like glitter or like crystals just pouring in. Sometimes it comes from the moon directly, or the sun, or just the celestial bodies or spirit, just streaming down into that open crown, like a flower opening towards the sun. And we'll tone that bija seed one time here, the sound of Om. Again, you can just listen or hum, otherwise take a big breath. Hold. Om. And then release your hands, and you can shift forward for a moment and then come forward onto the knees or onto the bottom. We will move into our Supta Baddha Konasana right now, or at least a Supta position. So if you have a block, I would like you to use the block just because I want more of a 45-degree angle. So you can place the block at the middle position. And then if you have a bolster or a bed pillow or a couple bed pillows, you can lay them over that. So it's going to sort of create this angle. And then feel free to grab a couple more towels or blankets or pillows. So for Supta Baddha Konasana, we would sit in front of the pillows, and then you can bring the soles of the feet back together. If you do that for this pose, I do want you to put support under your legs. If your hips have had enough, you can definitely just keep your knees bent, or you can extend your legs out. You can even put something under your feet or under your knees. But when you're laying back, what we want is to have that line, right, from the crown down to the spine. So the head is not coming forward or up. There's a line there. And then the bottom is down, long line up through the crown, and then you can relax your arms. So in this position, I do want you to get as comfortable as you can. So putting on a blanket, covering your eyes with an eye pillow, or even like a clean sock or a t-shirt sleeve. And just letting yourself settle here. So just checking in, finding a comfortable position for the legs. The knees can definitely be bent, and sometimes the knees bent feels good for the low back. Or legs extended, maybe with support under them, soles of the feet together with support under the thighs. And then just take a few breaths here and make sure it feels like you can have that free flow up to the crown. All right, so we want this effortless receptivity here for our Sahasrara practice. Ideally, a position where you could feel yourself start to drift into that awareness I was talking about earlier that we sometimes experience through meditation or art or nature, where we just sort of lose track of the physical space and we are moving into the spiritual, into the ethereal. Take a couple more breaths, maybe exhaling out the mouth to just let go. And being aware of your body, Hear the temperature of the room, any smells or sounds, tastes in the mouth. Closed eyes, ideally covered. And can you give yourself permission to surrender to the support available, both in your physical space, but also in the ethereal space? Whatever way you conceptualize universal energy, whether that is the sun, the moon, and the stars, or angels or guardians, deities. There's no right or wrong in this energy center. It's how you relate to source, to the infinite. Even if it's just opening to your higher self. Can you surrender to inviting that? And maybe again, breathe up into the crown and then continue to breathe at the crown as though the breath was just moving in and out of that space at the top of the head. White or violet light flowing. And just offering that intention, I surrender to source, or I surrender to spirit, or I open to the universal consciousness. This is sankalpa, which is a longing, a desire, a seed. And so at each chakra, we offer a sankalpa to bring us into alignment with the highest vibration of this energy center at this time. And what was available at the crown chakra last year is not the same as what's available now. We have moved around the wheel again, and now we meet another year. And we enter this year from the highest energy portal. And so as you breathe in and out to your crown and feel into the sankalpa, and you can definitely make your own. Sankalpa is a short positive statement in the present tense that usually begins with I or I am. Again, I surrender, I open, I align with spirit, source. Again, if you have a specific relationship with a spiritual practice, maybe you name that. And then you let it go. You repeat it a few times as you breathe and focus at the crown. And then you let it go. And you imagine that swirl of violet light or white light or gold. Different traditions say different things about the light at this chakra. Sometimes it's rainbow. But now imagine this swirl of light flowing from the crown down into your forehead, into your face, softening the eyes and the eyebrow center, settling into the ears and between the ears, flowing through the nose and the face, into the mouth, into the whole head, the skull, the face, the whole head and face, softening as it receives this swirling light pouring in from the crown, infinite. And it swirls down through your throat, into your chest, nourishing your heart and your lungs and your ribs, the chest and the upper back, the shoulder blades. It softens your shoulders as it draws down your arms and elbows, down the lower arms, out your hands to your fingertips, both arms flowing with light. This radiant light travels back up your fingers and your hands and your arms and your shoulders, gathering back into your chest as it then pours down through the solar plexus, down into the belly, down the spine, the mid back, the low back. And again, the whole pelvis, the front and back, the hips, the whole pelvic bowl, light flowing down your hips and your thighs, your knees and your lower legs. Light flows through your ankles and your feet to your toes. And again, this crystalline light flowing out through your toes. And then back up through the toes and the feet and the legs. You feel the front and the backs of the legs filled with this light that just flows through, effortless, infinite. And you feel your arms and your legs filled with light, your torso, your neck, your head, the whole back of your body softened and filled with light, the front of your body. This light flows through the right side and the left side. Your whole body radiating crystalline light, this unique light from your crown, your connection to source. Your whole body effortlessly receives this reset from the universe, opening the crown and pouring through the body, releasing disconnection, detaching from outdated material beliefs, restoring this connection to the universe. And there's nothing else that you need to do but open to receive it. As you inhale, you now draw light from the crown down into the body. And as you exhale, it moves out wherever it's needed in your body. Inhale, imagine breathing light down from the crown, down into your body. And as you exhale, it spreads and goes wherever it's needed in your body. And just stay with this breath, breathing that light in from the crown, pulling it down into the body. And then as you exhale, it spreads and extends and moves. And if there's one part of your body that really needs attention, you can inhale the light down from the crown, and every exhale, just stay focused on that part. Or maybe it's emotional. Maybe there's a pain in the heart or the throat or the belly that is emotional. And you inhale this restorative light from the crown and you exhale it right into that part. And so just noticing the body, noticing any physical sensation, emotional sensation. And as you inhale, pull that spiritual energy, that limitless spiritual energy down. And as you exhale, send it into that space. And just stay with this for a little bit longer as the body restores, inhaling energy from the crown, exhaling it wherever it's needed. And if there's not a specific sensation or emotion, then just allow it to move through your body. And there's no right or wrong. Sometimes these kinds of practice are just, they feel kind of awkward, and just allow it. Other times they can be very vivid colors and symbols and shapes, even messages from the body. There's no right or wrong. Just stay with allowing the breath to draw in from the crown and exhale where it's needed. And if you don't know where it's needed, just trust it will go where it's needed. Just stay with your sankalpa, that intention, that seed to open, to surrender. And then let that go. Any effort around the breath, release. Whole body resting, receiving, restoring. Let your attention move back to the crown of the head. And invite in that vision of a lotus or other flower blooming, or maybe a crown, or maybe just a halo, a ring of light, a ring of fire. No right or wrong, just whatever source connects you to this center, connects you to the higher consciousness at the crown of the head. And can you imagine that you are sitting in the middle of this lotus, of this halo, of this crown, this flower? You are resting just as you are right now, reclined, supported. You are resting right in the center of this lotus or vision of your crown. And again, what is it like to be in the center, to look around at this flower or fire or blossom or crown, noticing the colors, the textures, the sensations. And as you see yourself here in the middle of the Sahasrara and receiving whatever it is you need from this practice tonight. Feel the body supported and held, receiving that direct light from above, but also the nourishment of the Sahasrara all around you. There's nothing else you need to do. Just be. Be here in your crown, healing and opening and surrendering. And as you rest here, as though it were coming from all around you, can you imagine that sound of Om? Om. Om. This ancient universal sound of Om, the seed of the crown chakra vibrating all around you and within you, from above you and below you. The seed sound restores the balance of each chakra. The Om seed sound, one of the most beloved in the world to connect to higher source. And you rest here in the center of the crown, vibrating with the higher vibration of Om. 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 In the midst of that Om, you again hear your Sankalpa also vibrating around and within you. I surrender to source. I open to spirit. Or whatever intention is most resonant for you now. Hear it vibrate through you 3 more times. And then again, let it go. Let all the sounds and colors and sensations dissolve, all flowing back into the body from the crown as the practice is complete. Feel the body on the earth. Feel the sensation of the air, the sound, the smells or tastes. Feel the humming of the body and the return to the body with this awareness of our higher center. Take another big breath in and then sigh. The soles of the feet are together. You can bend your knees or extend the legs. You can start to wiggle your fingers and toes or rotate your wrists and ankles. You can roll to one side, or if it makes a little more sense just to roll yourself up, you can do that. And just see if you can find that comfortable seat with the ears over the shoulders and the shoulders over the hips, that alignment of the spine, but also the Sushumna Nadi, that central channel that all the chakras kind of plug into. You can again draw the hands to the heart or just place them on the legs, or if it's appropriate to pull the fingers back. And one more time, we find our Padma Mudra, our lotus. Om Sahasra Swaha. We surrender, we bow to the wisdom of the 1,000-petaled lotus. And we'll seal the practice with a little more sound, that bija seed of Om 3 more times. And again, you can keep your attention at the crown as you tone or listen or hum when you're ready. Inhale. Om. Om. Thank you for practicing. Many blessings, and I hope to see you soon.